Wow. Okay. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I thought I would show you guys what's in my track box. So I'm just gonna go through some of the items, tell you about them. First up, we have bear with me. Oh, okay. First up, we got my lap timer. So this is a little device called a lap timer. I put this on the front of my motorcycle. So in between my handlebars, I put this on, and it will give me real-time lap times. So, which is very useful. So it's kind of like what it looks like when it's on. At the moment, it just says 00. This thing's really cool because it can tell you in real time as you do every lap what your time is, so you can like test different lines. Like maybe one time I test a different line, I'm like, oh, this is way slower, this is way faster. It'll also tell you different sectors, which, to explain it simply, let's say halfway around the track it will give you a time as well, so you don't have to wait all the way until you go around. Usually it's around like a long straight, so when you're not really doing too much, you're like going down a long straight, you look down and it'll say, if you did faster, it'll say like -1 second. And if you've gone slow, it'll say +1. So it's something that's really cool to look at. It also has a speedo on it. So this connects to GPS. Yeah, it's really fancy bit of kit. It's like $500, $550 or something. A lot of the stuff I'm going to be showing you today is really expensive. It took me a long time to accumulate this stuff, so don't think I'm rich because I spent years accumulating this stuff and I've always wanted something like this. This also has, so my bike, because it doesn't have ABS on it, which gives it the speed, this will tell me what my speed is, so because ABS is disabled, my speeder doesn't work, so I use this as well. What else? There was something else about this. Oh, you can connect this to a laptop, and then I can literally see the map, the track map, and it represented as a dot, and I can see my lines, and I can take the file and compare it with, let's say I've got another friend on the same bike. I can overlap both the files to see exactly where they're faster and slower. So I do this with my friends. I'll be like, hey, what's your fastest lap time? Can you send it to me? And then I can overlap it and see it on my computer screen, the dots next to each other. And maybe in the middle of the turn, my friend's faster or I'm faster. It's just really cool. This is the kind of data that it'll show after a session. Like my best time, average time, top speed, average speed, and then something like this. It just shows my lap times and it saves all the data. So this is like one session from Queensland Raceway. It's got the date and stuff anyway. Pretty cool. Really like this thing. This is what helps me go faster, essentially, because it gives you that real-time feedback. Whereas before I had this, I would have to ask Mary or something to time my laps manually, which is not as accurate. This is very accurate because of GPS. I don't know. It's very accurate. This is what people use. Also, it's very easy to use because it knows where it is. So when I go to a raceway like Queensland Raceway, when I turn this on, it connects to GPS and it says, Queensland Raceway, you're at Queensland Raceway, do you want to set that as your track? And you just say yes. And when you go over 60 k's an hour, it just starts lap timing you. Like, it's really cool, very advanced. Anyway, we will move on to my next piece of kit. I'll just put that over there. What is next? my digital tire gauge. I haven't used this yet. This is new. I bought this recently. I haven't had a chance to use it this year on a track because I haven't been to the track in like 4 months. But I used to have one of those digital tire gauges, about this big, and it comes out at an angle. And if you don't know much about motorcycles, in a car it's really easy to put the inflator on because the thing that you put it on points outwards, outside of the tire. But on motorcycles it's really difficult because the valve points inwards to the rim, if that makes sense. Whereas on a car it points out, like into open space, but this one points in, and usually there's like tire chains or like brakes and stuff in the way, so it's really hard to like get your finger in there. Usually the only way really is to slightly bend the valve to get it on, which is not convenient. So I got this thing. This tells me the PSI, which is really important on track bikes, and even more importantly, the main reason why I got this is because this is like an angled thing, so when I put it onto the wheel, I don't have to bend it and I don't have to move it. Yeah, the reason why I got this is because my friend had one and I used it and I was like, holy shit, that's way easier. This does not inflate it. This will only tell you the tire pressure. In motorcycle track days, your tire pressure is really important for your tires to work properly, and that's probably the most important thing on the bike is your tires, and monitoring the tires and the pressure and the temperature throughout the day. But yeah, pretty simple, tells you PSI. This, extremely convenient. Turn the light on and off. You can deflate it with this button. Yeah, that's pretty much that. Up next, we have a torque wrench. I think most of you know what a torque wrench is. If you're watching this, thank you. It's been very useful. I use it very often for torquing my bolts down on my motorcycle, because I don't want it to, like, if I'm torquing down my brakes, I want to use this, not just do it by hand, because yeah, I want to make sure it's done enough. I don't know how to describe this too much. It's more like just still, yeah, I've never used that at a track day, but I like to bring it just in case I need to change wheels or something. Yep. Next thing. This is my bike pump. You're gonna see a bunch of stuff to do with tires. So this is another thing. This is a bicycle pump, because I don't have a big fancy air compressor like some of the other people. So yeah, if I need to add air to the recommended air pressures based on the manufacturers, I'll put air in. Yeah, pretty simple. Hook that on, pump it up. Next item. This is kind of like my electronics bag. This I just kind of made this bag recently, so I don't know what's in it. This is, so for one of my track days, it's at night time, and you need to have like these red flashing lights. These are, so I bought this. I haven't used this yet, but you have to put it on the back of your bike, because I have a track bike. It doesn't have any lights on it. And they just came out with this new rule that you have to have a rear red light. And does this work? Wow, they're dead. Or I just have to hold it. I think they're dead. So I can't show you. But these are actually extremely bright. These were fully charged. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I don't know how this works. But it's really bright. I'm just trying to turn it So there's lights. I'll put this on my bike if I ever go to the, it's called Small Wheels track day at night time. Everything else in here is kind of boring. I have a battery charger in case my battery dies. I've got some GoPro mounts because I like to put GoPros on my bike. That's pretty much all that's in here. Oh, okay, these are my tire warmers. The name probably gives it a lot of it away. So there's two. These go on top of my tires. When you get into track day riding, most people tend to get these kind of things. You don't have to have them, but so like in terms of people who are getting into track days, you just go with your road bike and then you just use those road tires. But as you get better and faster, and like I have a dedicated track bike, it's not road legal, you can only use it on the track, and I have what's called slicks, which is tires designed for racing. They are not designed to be cold, like they're not designed to just have your bike sitting in the pits and then go roll out, because when you ride around the track your tires get hotter, but they're not designed to go from cold to hot. So you have to have things like tire warmers. These like wrap around, they're kind of like, you wrap it around your wheel, and there's these little coils that run along the whole thing, and they're powered, powered with the cord. You can, I've got these really cool ones. These cost, I think, around $350 or so. There's this digital thing that you can set the tire temperature to, which is really cool. The tire manufacturers for slicks will recommend, a tire temperature. I don't remember exactly what it is. Let's just say it's like 80 degrees. Set it to 80 degrees. It'll tell you the ambient temp of like, when you first put it on, it might say 50 degrees. And then it'll tell you when it gets to 80. That's how you know the tires are warm. And then that way, you can go out in the first lap, go as hard as you want, But if you're doing something like it's your first track day, your first 1 or 2 laps have to be slow, because you have cold tires, so you have less grip with a colder tire. So you have to go easy. If you go really hard the first lap, you'll just crash because your tires are cold. But yeah, one of the main reasons why I got these is because I do so many track days, and the first 2 laps of every track day, like there's about 6 sessions. So first 2 laps, I'm warming them up. I'm kind of losing time. Like, because I do so many track days, I want more value. So by getting tire warmers, they're immediately hot when I get onto the track. So I'm getting an extra 2 laps per session, about 6 sessions a day, an extra 12 laps. Just by having these, I get an extra 12 laps of fun. So that's a big reason why I got them. I didn't actually want, my intention wasn't to get slicks. I wanted to get more road bias tires, but my tires were cooked and I needed tires before a track day. And slicks was all they had available. So, yeah, pretty good. If you're getting into track days, they're not necessary. I'm going to try and, with this video, not only inform family about everything that's in my track box, but also people who are looking to get into track days, and try to inform them on these things too, like which stuff you need, which stuff you don't need. A digital tire gauge is probably the main thing that you would need for going to track days. If it's like your first time, you just want to try it out. You don't need any of this other stuff really. They tend to have things to inflate the tires, but yeah, knowing what tire pressure your tire is at is probably the most important thing, because if they're too inflated, that can be bad because they overheat. If they're underinflated, then the tire's not working in the range that it's meant to. Anyway, next item. Oh my gosh. Okay, I got a couple things here. First, we've got my gloves. These are my race gloves or track gloves because I don't race yet, but I'm looking at racing soon. So, yeah, this is called a gauntlet glove, which means that it goes. I'll just put it on to show you. This goes all the way past my wrist. You can get ones that stop at your wrist, but for the track, I'm pretty sure every single track you have to have gauntlet gloves. So these go roughly like, halfway down my forearm. Much more protective. Yeah, you have to have them. If it's your first time and you don't have gauntlet gloves, if you just want to try it out, you could just pay them. I know Queensland Raceway, you just pay like $80. They give you everything you need. They give you a tracksuit, they give you boots, and you need shin boots. You need gauntlet gloves. You can use normal helmet, but yeah, like $80. Just use what they have, I reckon. What else? So my gloves. I just bought these. I haven't used them yet, but essentially, how do I put this on? I'll just put this on. So these go under your gloves. They kind of look like this, and then you put your glove on top. The reason why I got this is because I saw some racers using them, and if I go really hard on my bike, I put a lot of weight on my hands, and I started to get some blisters. These are meant to help you out, alleviate getting those blisters here, because I like hold on too tight or whatever. I probably don't do it right anyway. These brand new. I'm really keen to try these out because I tend to get arm pump, which is specifically with your throttle hand, like you hold on too tight and it really hurts your forearm. So yeah, keen to try that. And there's just my helmet. Nothing special, just a helmet. When you do a track day, I have a Cardo, which is an intercom thing. You have to take those off. You're not allowed to have those on. So yeah, I just kind of tape it because there's a wire that sticks out, but there's nowhere to put it, so I just have to tape over it. Next item. This over here. Okay. Let me start with one of those. So this is my track boot. This is a relatively fancy boot. I've been doing track days for a while now, so I've gone through a couple boots. This is probably my third pair of boots, but these are my first pair of fancy boots. So, I did track days when I was in uni and stuff, and I did everything like budget. Like, just brought my everyday road bike. I got some cheap boots off Marketplace for like, I don't know, $50. They worked pretty well. But these are definitely like more premium boots. This is like the top level boot. Probably about $700 brand new, which is a lot of money. But for this whole getting into racing thing, I would put money aside for a long time to try and accumulate this stuff. Anyway, I could go into all the details of this specific boot, but it's just a racing boot. Like, there's kind of like a second shoe in here. You would put it's like an inside shoe, and that would be separate to this actual boot, and then you would slip it on, kind of like a sock. But yeah, it's a protective boot. It's got these side sliders because you tend to get your foot pretty close to the road when you're leant over. Like you can see here, I have scraped the side a little bit. Very protective. It goes like halfway up your shin, which is required of track boots. You can't use like anything that doesn't go lower than that, higher than that. So yeah, these are cool. These fancy, very comfortable, and very expensive. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else? pretty much most of it. I've got my brand new suit over here as well. Yeah, that's most of what's in my track box. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Got any questions? Let me know. Okay, bye. Alexa time. I've got a few things, so I'm going to show you a couple more things. I got my track. Oh, sorry. Oh. Are you okay? Sorry. I got my tracksuit. This is my brand new tracksuit. I haven't tried it yet. It actually fits me properly, unlike my last one, which was too big. But because I was really poor and it was discounted, I bought it anyway. So tracksuits are required. You probably can't really see. Sure. Tracksuits are required. Let me. They weigh a lot too because there's so much armor in them. To ride on the track, you need a tracksuit, either one piece or two piece. This is a one piece, which means it's like a onesie. You just put it all on and you zip it up. A two piece would be, you can have pants, and then there's a top half, kind of like a jacket, and it zips up in the middle. One piece is known for being a bit more protective, I guess. I don't know. Go on a track, you have to have a one piece. If it's your first time, again, you could just rent it. That $80 rent fee gives you the suit. I think a helmet, even if you want. The gloves and the boots. A little bit about the suit. So this whole suit, I think, is leather or kangaroo leather, which is required. It's got armor in statistically the most places that you would fall over on a motorcycle. You know, they've been riding motorcycles for decades and figured out where everyone tends to be injured, so then they put armor there. So you've got big, I don't know if you can see from here. Maybe I'll bring it closer. From about here to here, that is just armor. All of that is like a whole like knight's armor, but it's really comfortable. It's also this shoulder part, which is protective. For the forearm, from about the back of the elbow here to all the way up near the wrist, you've got armor, and then of course you have your glove, which goes all the way down to the wrist. So essentially this whole part, your entire arm up to the elbow, is protected. And you got movement here. The front, there's not really, there's armor pockets here from about the top of your chest to the halfway down, and then down here you have, this is the knee, so the whole knee all the way down until the shin, and then where this stops, the boot starts. So the whole leg up until the knee is protected. You have these things called knee sliders. So if you see, like when we go around the track, you lean off to the inside, which reduces lean angle and provides more grip. Looks scary, looks weird, but that's just the way that it works. You got physics on your side, and you're less likely to fall off if you lean to the inside. They figured that out like decades ago. So that's kind of the thing that you do. And when you lean over enough, eventually, because you stick your whole body off to the side and you stick your knee out, eventually your knee will actually touch the ground once you get to that level. Like on my old leathers, you see my knee slider is like scraped because it touches the ground. It's kind of like you get cool points for it, and it feels really cool. It's like, wow, I can get my knee down. I can't do it very consistently yet, but it depends on the turn. Some turns I can. Kind of like, I skim it every now and then. I'm still getting there. I'm still learning. But that's what these big things are for, and Yeah, when these become like really low because you've been scraping a lot, you just rip this off. This is Velcro. And you put a new knee slider on. Yeah, I'm keen to try this out because this one actually fits me properly. So it's got these things called accordion stretch panels. So like this is for the knee. So when I bend my knee, this stretches and it provides support, which is something I didn't experience with my last suit, which was probably 4 sizes too big or like 2 sizes too big. So when I would lean off to the side with my other suit, I would have to hold my entire core up with my core, and that was tiring, and I had a lot of arm pump and stuff. But when I tried this suit on in the store and I was sized up properly by the person and I leant to the side, there's the stretch paneling here, which is like in the small of your back, and it was like it's tight enough and it fits well enough that it stretches and holds me up. So like I wasn't using my muscles, and I was like, this feels like cheating. So I'm really keen to try that out. Also, they have this little hump, which is like the middle of your back, I suppose, I'm assuming to protect your spine, but also it helps you be more aerodynamic, because where this kind of ends, where this kind of like awkwardly shaped thing ends, is where my helmet would kind of start, so it keeps it aerodynamic when you're in the full tuck position. I think that's pretty much most with the suit. Can you pass me those, please? Probably not the socks, but we don't need the socks. These are just my skins. Is that what they're called? Yeah, I think these are just called skins. So these are like long sleeve, like that tight material that sticks to you. A couple like you have to have these things if you're in leathers, in my opinion. We live in Australia, it gets really hot. These things are really hot to be in during when the sun's up, especially in summer. It's almost like unbearable. And your skin will stick to it, like the inside. This stuff is mesh, which means like there's holes in it, so it's better, but you still stick to it. So if you put this on instead, you don't stick to it at all. You just slide through it, and it's probably more hygienic. Anyone who doesn't have these, I'm like, how the heck do you get in and out of that thing? Because this is like kind of tight when it's on, which is the way it's designed to be, but by nature they're difficult to put on because it's a one piece and it's like all leather and stiff. But yeah, if you're gonna do a track day, if it's your first time, you're renting a suit, you're gonna have to have these. Like you're gonna see on your first track day, or when everyone shows up, everyone's already wearing these. I'm already wearing these. Like when I go tomorrow, I put this on in the morning, and then when it's time to put on my suit, I just put on my suit and just slide in, and you can slide out. Apart from that, that's what's in my track box. I have a couple things in my car already. I just bought a generator, which I haven't used yet, which will be able to provide me power for my tire warmers if there's no auxiliary power. I have a tent chair. I have a trailer. I just bought a trailer. This will be my first time using my actual trailer, which is really cool. Then I don't have to worry about renting a trailer and getting it back in time, and yeah, that whole thing's like really annoying. So finally bought myself a trailer. Again, not required if it's your first track day. To give a little summary, if it's your first track day and you already own a bike, you're interested, just book the track day. You'll need something called a recreational race license. You're not actually racing, but you need what's called a 1 day license to be on the track, which is $30 or $40. A normal track day is about 210, so that's 240. And then you probably want to, if you don't have all the gear, you'd want to hire it for $80, so it's close to $300. Ride there on your bike, make sure your bike is up to spec, like nothing's leaking, your chain isn't loose. Even if it is like a little loose, you can kind of come up to them. You have this thing called scrutineering, where before your actual track day, on the track day, at the beginning of the day, you bring your bike to them and they inspect it. So they'll look at your tires to see if they're like bald. If they're bald, they'll also say change them or you're not riding. They check suspension and stuff. My first track day, I was like, that was my biggest hurdle. I was like just so nervous that my bike wouldn't pass inspection, and if it didn't, I wouldn't be able to afford to change it. But yeah, I went, and it took, like, I had built up towards this whole inspection thing. I took it to a mechanic and everything because I really wanted everything to be good. And my whole life, the scrutineering is probably what kept me away from track riding. And then when I finally did, I was like, oh, that only took like 1 minute. And the guy was like, yeah, good. Okay, see ya. I was like, wow. But anyway, back to the thing. If it's your first day, bring your bike, bring maybe a tire pressure gauge. They're like $12-15 from like super cheap, one of the digital ones. Look up your actual tire. If you're unsure, you can always just ask people. When it's your first day, there's 4 different groups. You got red, blue, green, yellow. You'll be put in red, which is the first time beginners group, and you will do debriefs after each session with coaches. You get free coaching, which is great. They'll tell you about lines and everything, and during the warm-up laps they'll come out with you to kind of set the pace. But yeah, it's pretty good, and they kind of try to walk you through it pretty good. As you get faster, you move up to different groups. But I think that's all you need, really. Like, once you've got the day license, you pay for the thing, and just hire some gear, and your bike is good. Basically, don't make sure your chain's not too tight or too loose. But if it is, they're pretty nice. Like, my chain's been too loose once, and I said, I don't know how to do it. Can you help me? The guy did it for me, which was really nice. I don't know if I'd rely on that, but every time I've needed something like that, people help out. And your brake pads can't be really thin. I don't remember the exact measurements, but it says as you sign up, it'll say like, I don't know, 3 mils or something. It can't be less than 3 mils. And your suspension can't be leaking. Yeah, apart from that, you're good to go. Go and have some fun. A lot of people get really nervous about crashing their bike on the first track day, and that's completely understandable. If you think of it, don't think of it as like a race. Just think of it as you're going on a mountain, except you're going on the same mountain and it just keeps repeating. You start off slow and you just slowly build up. Don't think of it as a race and you go ham. Like, that's how people crash bikes. But also, this is a great safe place to push the limits, because most of the tracks, not all, but something like Queensland Raceway is good. It's mostly flat. You got a lot of runoff, and if you make a mistake, you could just go off the side. There's gravel. There's paramedics on site. There's trailers on site for if you crash, they just pick you up. If you go down, paramedics are there. They've got a paramedic bay, and better than on the street. Sometimes if you crash, people don't notice. And there's things you can go on. You can go onto poles. You can go down sides of mountains. Like, it's much better to learn here, and it's really wide. The thing that I realized the very first time I went onto the track is that it's like 3 cars wide, and it only goes in one direction. You don't have any cars going in the other direction, so it's really good in that aspect. And it's a good place to start pushing the limits. Obviously, don't push the limits on your very first track day. It's kind of like, feel it out. In my opinion, you're going to have way more fun doing just one track day than you are like just going on the mountains. Mountains is cool, but mountains have speed limits. Mountains are really narrow too. They're only like 2 cars wide, sometimes 1 car wide, and you can't see around most corners. Like usually you're looking into a mountain or something. You can't really look through the turn. But going to a racetrack, you doing the same turns. You do the same, like, I don't know, 8 turns, and then you go, oh, maybe this time I go a little bit faster through this turn, a little bit faster, or maybe I'll change the line. And then you figure out these things that you could never figure out on the road because you're always doing different turns, different radiuses. Some are really tight, some are blind, some are downhill, some are uphill. These are just the same turns over and over again. You do it for a whole day. Maybe it sounds boring to you, but like, it's hard to explain if you haven't done it. Like, yeah, you just do the same 8 turns for like a whole day, but you're doing it with other people, and yeah, it's pretty satisfying when you have something like a small bike, like 300cc like mine, and you're overtaking big bikes with 1000cc on like street tires, and they have like race tires. It feels pretty good, and don't feel like you have too slow of a bike to take it to the track. Especially a 300 more than enough. I mean, I'm about to start racing at 300 and having heaps of fun on it. Maybe a 125 is too small. I don't know, I've never seen a 125 on the track. Only on the smaller tracks, but yeah, okay, I'll stop yapping now. Anyway, bye. Hello. Good morning. Today is my track day, Friday. I've taken work off today, so it's a pretty good day for me. I don't know if I told you guys, but it's a triple track day, so it'll be from Friday to Sunday. I'm whispering because it's really early in the morning. I just woke up. It's 4:43 a.m. I pretty much was up at 4. Wasn't gonna get up until 4:30 when my alarm goes off. Takes me 2 hours to get to this track. This is probably one of my favorite tracks. It's a little bit further away, but I think it's worth the 2-hour drive because I really like this track. Anyway, I'm doing these videos so you guys have a bit of insight into what it's like in my life to do track days. Yeah, get up really early. Specifically for this track, I have to get up really early because gates open at 7. So I gotta leave. It takes me like 2 hours, 10 minutes to get there. Plus I need fuel and breakfast. So that's why I'm getting up this early. I'm pretty much all packed. My trailer's all done. My car's full of stuff. It's like packed to the brim. Yeah. So I'll probably wake up Mary, just say bye, and then head out. It's usually pretty nice, a pretty nice morning drive because right now it's pitch black outside, but usually there's a bit of a like a really beautiful sunrise because I'm never usually awake this early. So if I do see a beautiful sunrise, then I will record it because I've got a mount on my car, but it's raining right now, which for most people on track days like kind of pisses them off when it rains because people see the rain as like taking all the fun away because it's way less grip, but which I used to see it that way too, but after some wet track days I still had a lot of fun and people go way slower, so it's almost way easier to overtake people. My bike has slicks on them, which means you can't have them on the wet, but I've already thought of that, and so I'm borrowing Mary's R3 tires, which is just road tires, which are good for the rain. So yeah, I will see you around. Bye. Hello, it is 6:50 a.m. Been driving since, I don't know, 4:50. Stuck at these traffic lights. It says up to 10 minutes, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about what I'll be doing when I get to the track. I suspect I'm probably not really gonna vlog when I get there because I'm kind of like shy. I don't really want to talk to a camera in front of people. Kind of weird. I suspect that's what I'll be like. If I'm feeling good, maybe I will, but that's what I think will happen. So I'll just tell you now what's going to happen. When I get there, two main things to do first: sign on, and then I get a wristband, which will be the color of my group. There's 4 different groups at different speeds. I'll be getting blue, which is like the 3rd fastest, and then for the group, so it starts off with red. That's kind of like first timers, beginners, and people who are comfortable at their beginner pace or new to track days. There's no overtaking on the insides. You can only overtake on the outside. One group up from there, it is green group, I think. Might be about to go. And then again, no overtaking on the inside, and then you go to blue group, which will be the group that I'm in. There's no overtaking rules. You can pass on the inside if you want. And then there's yellow group, usually labeled as racers group, and often you can't have anything over 600 cc's. Sorry, you can't have anything under 600 cc's. My bike's a 300, so this is the fastest group that I can be in. So yeah, when I first get there, I will get my wristband, sign in, and then get my bike scrutineered, make sure it passes. They'll put like the blue, they'll put a little sticker on it and then give me a blue number, and then from there I'll just be finding where I want to set up. Looks like I'm going now. Yeah, I'll find where I want to set up in a garage. There's basically just like a really big long garage, and there's a couple, there's like 3 set up until it's time to do the briefing as a whole group. They'll brief everyone together, go through the basics of what today is, all the rules, going through all the flags. They'll detail all the different flags, which is their way to signal to us if a session has ended, it's started, if there's something hazardous, or if you're leaking oil or whatever. Sometimes the briefing's kind of funny. Like last time I was at this briefing, there's a lady who says the briefing. She said something along the lines of, "I'm glad you could all be sick today and skip work," because it was like a Wednesday to Friday track day. Yeah, it was funny because everyone did that very clearly. Like, it was the middle of a school week, and we're all there on a Wednesday to Friday doing 3 track days in a day, in a week. But yeah, keen to get started. If I hadn't said already, I'll be doing a track day today, which is Friday. Saturday it was sold out, so I'll see how I feel. I could go home, but it takes me 2 hours to go home, and then another 2 hours to get back. Or I might just stay, hang around. Maybe I'll make friends. Sometimes I make friends. Maybe take some photos or videos. I never really have an opportunity to take photos or videos of bikes because I'm usually kind of tired, and I am the one riding, so I'm usually either riding or resting. So it'd be cool if maybe I can get some videos. I'm really interested in getting videos of people riding, like flybys. I've always been more interested in videos than I have been in pictures. I have a lot of pictures of me on the bike, but I feel like it doesn't encompass the feel of what it's like to be at a racetrack as much, with the still photo of you leaning over versus if you get something like a video of you zooming past, it's like, holy crap, this guy's going really fast. And yeah, so, and I have sometimes a very specific kind of video that I want, or angle that I want, so it'd be cool to maybe experiment with that. I'm not sure what I'll use, maybe my phone. I do have a fancy DSLR camera, but I don't think it does video very well. The frame rate is just like really low. It looks a bit choppy. But yeah, after the briefing, it'll be it starts off with the fastest group. They'll go on for about 15 minutes, and then it'll be the next group, and then the next group, and then the next group. It just keeps cycling around like that. So you get roughly 45 minutes to rest in between each session, and I think generally you get like 5-6 sessions a day. Yeah, I might try and get like a time lapse of me setting up, maybe. We'll see how I feel. I might be feeling really shy. I won't do it. Yeah, I think that's all. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. Hello. So, what am I looking for? I'm all set up. I got my blue band, mic set up, bike is scrutineered. Made a friend. It's really busy. It's really packed. Like I could barely squeeze in beside someone. I'm just putting my contacts on now, which I kind of forgot to do. But I kind of have to wear contacts because with glasses, you just kind of go so fast, and there's so much vibration that the helmet just shakes. But I can't like interpret that. I don't notice the shaking if I wear contacts. So I just always wear contacts. And it saves time, not having to put on glasses, take it off every single time. Yeah, there was like no room anywhere, so I had to squeeze beside a guy. We're already kind of friends because I asked if I could use his power. He said yeah, so like returned the favor. I have a little table set up. Said he could use half the table. So yeah, pretty cool. I usually wouldn't consider myself very social, but I'm a bit more social at these things, maybe because I just love it, kind of thing, you know. Just because we all do this, we're doing the same thing. We all love riding motorcycles. Just makes me more extroverted. I don't know. It's cool. It's cool. It's like not many things make me do this. Like I'm 2 hours away from home by myself on a Friday with people I don't know, and I'm completely comfortable. Like I can't say that much for many things. My very first time doing this alone was pretty scary. Like 2 hours alone. I'm a pretty introverted guy, but now I'm just used to it. I think it's just because I love this kind of thing. Like I wouldn't do this for anything else. I wouldn't travel 2 hours unless I really loved it. So just to give some insight, I suppose. I'm probably going to go back because I think we're doing a briefing soon. So yeah.
back section.
Okay.
Follow me, I'll show you where to
You
go.
just stay on the left.
Yeah, over
Okay.
the curb, you're fucking middle of nowhere.
Okay.
So so much fun. Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah. Hello. I know you probably can't see me. This camera is not very good at nighttime, so it probably just looks pitch black, but yes, I'm just gonna summarize the day. Pretty busy. I didn't really vlog much, and I was just kind of tired in general. But yeah, I did the whole day. Made a friend next to me. Unfortunately, he ended up crashing. It was kind of a small crash, but unfortunately it bent his peg, which is what he rests his foot on, and he wasn't able to fix it, so he just had to go home. I had some fun with a few other riders, another guy on an R3, where we would like go in front of each other and like switch places a lot. I got to test out my Insta360, which is the camera footage inside the helmet. That was really cool. I'm sure you've either already seen it or will see it after this. I was thinking of doing possibly some commentary on top of it, you know, giving a little bit of context to my riding, like what I'm thinking, stuff like that. I used to watch other people ride or commentate their racing, and I just found it really fascinating to see what they're thinking in the moment of being on the track. Now I know you just absolutely cannot see me, you're just listening to a black blob. But after everything was done, I set up my tent in one of the garages. I was trying to inflate my air mattress, but there's no air pump, so I was doing it manually, and I pumped it probably like what felt like 200 times, and it's only maybe 30% inflated. It's almost like there's a hole somewhere, you know. You do so many pumps and you're like, how is this still not pumping? And it was kind of embarrassing. Like, I say like too much. I'm in the tent and all you hear is this like pumping noise, and there's all these people around me like chatting and stuff. It's just, anyway, I went to Kmart, I got a pump. Kmart was just about to close, so when I got in, the lady just like looks at her watch, and I'm like, sorry, can you direct me to the camping section? Got the pump, now I have it. Hopefully it's charging, so it works. Yeah, so I camp at the track. I'll probably do a little video of that just so you can kind of see my setup. For context, I'm not riding tomorrow because it's booked out, but I didn't want to camp on the grass and possibly get rained on and all that, so I've done it under the garage. However, because tomorrow's fully booked out, even today there was a lot of people, like everyone had to squeeze in, so I was a bit conflicted if I should camp out on the grass where there won't be people, or under the garage, which has power and is protected from the elements, and I decided to do that. I've tried to set up everything so I take up like as little room as possible, so when people come, I'm not like spread out so much. What else? Yeah, I had a pretty good time on the track. No, I had one oh crap moment. You'll probably see it and I'll point it out to you. I braked too abruptly, so instead of like going to the brakes initially with like 5-10% pressure, I just went straight to too much pressure, and the rear wheel lifted because I decelerated so fast in a bad way because it's too abrupt, that the rear lifted and then it came down, and then in my helmet I'm like, oh crap, that's crazy. You can hear it because the camera is within my visor, so anything that I do say, which is generally yelled because I suppose adrenaline's kind of high when doing this sport. Yeah, I think it's kind of funny to watch, but I really love the footage. You get a much better sense of what it actually feels like, and the speed, and what I'm doing. You know, when I'm tucked, when I'm not tucked. Yeah, I really like the footage. I went out to town to get some food. I was really hungry. Had some Macca's. Had a long call with Mary, which was great. We talked for like an hour. There's no reception at the track, like, so I downloaded a movie because once I get to the track, like, I can't really watch YouTube, Instagram. I get reception like, I don't know, once every few minutes, which just makes it like impossible to watch anything. So yeah, download a movie. Maybe I'll show you my setup in my tent. It's not really set up yet, so I gotta inflate it, which makes a ton of noise. I'll see how that goes. Hopefully there's no one around the garage. There's only like one other person that's actually set up in the garage, I think. So it's like me and one other person on the opposite side. Everyone else is kind of on the grass, I think. So hopefully there's no one around there. I would like if I could be alone. I like being like alone, quiet, doing my own thing sometimes. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. You're probably bored of staring at a black thing. I will see you later.